How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 2.
Hello, America. Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here across the nation. 877-973-7425 is the phone number. I got to get into some breaking news that has hit the wires. For my team, you can cut out this little section here, but you're going to want to get this on Instagram. Yesterday, we put up a clip of me describing the Renee Good shooting, and a number of people attacked me and said, how could I call myself a Christian, among other things, for defending ICE in this? We now have the cell phone footage of the federal agent who was struck by Renee Good. And he was very clearly struck by Renee Good from his cell phone footage, causing him to drop his phone as he pulls his gun. And she's looking right at him. She's looking right at him. You will notice in the coverage, she is turning her wheel as he's in front of her. But when she accelerates on the ice, she goes forward. She doesn't immediately turn, despite the wheels. She goes forward. Now, I believe someone told me the Honda Pilot is a front-wheel drive, and it slips on the ice going forward instead of turning. He drops his phone. But what is she doing beforehand? One, she is visibly looking at the officer who she hits with her car, who is the one who opened fire, and she and her partner are harassing the ICE agents. Her window is down, and she is trash-talking the ICE agents. She is clearly there as someone obstructing ICE. There has been multiple spin from progressives that she was somehow an innocent bystander. She was trying to get out of the way. They were telling her, you can hear it audibly on the camera, to park your car and get out, park your car and get out. She aggressively turns the wheel and accelerates, slips on the ice, goes forward instead of turns, clearly hits the officer. And there's massive spin, even from the New York Times, by the way. Even the New York Times has insisted they don't believe there was a collision. With the officer's cell phone camera, yeah, there absolutely was a collision. You can hear it as he's dropping his cell phone, the thud of him bumping into her car. Someone said all the bullets went through the side of the window. Actually, that's not true. The officer is standing in front of her and fires through the windshield. She was looking directly at him in the video. He was directly in front of her. He tries to get her to stop. She does not, and he opens fire. There are a lot of people willfully wanting to spin you on this. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. And the truth is that in a high-tense situation where you are an activist trained to obstruct ICE, and ICE is being shot at around the country, you are playing a dangerous game. And Renee Good lost her life playing a dangerous game. She should not have put herself in the situation. She should not have done what she did. It is a tragedy that she lost her life. It is not good that she lost her life. There is no reason, as some have, to deeply vilify this woman. But she's not a victim, a martyr, a hero. Well, she is a victim, not a martyr, not a hero. And she brought this on herself. The massive amount of spin out there against ICE is appalling. The number of people who are now trying to get ICE agents killed is shameful. The video clearly shows she accelerated into the agent. You cannot deny, you hear the thump. I don't want to play the video because there is some profanity, not from the ICE agents, but from the protesters who are cussing at and berating the ICE agents. Renee Good is not one of the ones cussing at them, but she is harassing the ICE agents. This is the truth. It is the reality. It is caught on film. And you should also note, by the way, that what the left is now doing is they're moving the goalpost to say, well, he wasn't run over. None of us ever said he was run over. We said he was hit by the vehicle. That's not run over by the vehicle. If anything, both the way the car slipped and the way the officer slipped on the ice, it kept him from being run over by the vehicle. Ladies and gentlemen, I know people's sensitivities are inflamed right now. My goal here is not to inflame any of you. It is to be honest with you. It is to tell you the truth. And it is to tell you that my sympathies do lie with the ICE agents, not the protesters. The ICE agents are doing their job, ordered by the commander-in-chief, ordered by the president, ordered by Homeland Security. And what they're doing is legal. And they are detaining unlawful people in this country. They're detaining illegal aliens in this country. And frankly, ICE is very good at its job. In fact, ICE is inarguably even more professional than the Border Patrol. And these agents have been shot at, spat at, cussed at, harassed, abused, hit with vehicles in multiple cases, and now this. And the American Press Corps, the New York Times, CNN, and others are vilifying the ICE agents, and they're lying about what happened, insisting there was no collision, there was no impact. We now have the camera footage from the ICE agent. He was absolutely impacted by the vehicle. And so now they move the goalpost. Well, he wasn't run over. No one ever said he was run over. No one ever says he wasn't run over or was run over. He wasn't run over, but he was hit. And he was being harassed the entire time by Renee Good and other protesters. So please spare me your lectures on me being a Christian or not. Please spare me your lectures in your emotional state that you think ICE is bad when this officer was just doing his job. It was the protesters who made the situation tense. It was the protesters who harassed. It was the protesters who are to blame for this, not ICE. I'm sorry if that offends you. I'm sorry if that upsets you. But the truth does not care about your feelings. The truth is the truth. The ICE agent reacted in a fraction of a second to a vehicle that, though you can clearly see she is turning the wheel, accelerates forward into him on the ice. She shouldn't be dead. But she shouldn't have been doing that in a high-stress, tense situation that she made more tense and more stressful. She chose to show up and protest, and she chose to show up and harass, and she chose to show up and block the ICE agents with her vehicle, and she chose to try to accelerate and drive off when they were telling her to get out of her car. You can hear the agents yelling at her to put it in park and get out of the car. You can hear them saying that. And she chose to disobey the law enforcement officers. She's not a hero and she's not a martyr. But she's dead because she put herself in harm's way and intensified the tense situation. She left behind children, which makes it even more tragic. She was a regular protester. And it's losing any human life is tragic, This situation, as tragic as others. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you the ICE agent didn't have cause in a split second as her car lurches forward in a year that ICE agents around the country have been shot at and otherwise attacked. He made the call. You may disagree with it, but it was self-defense, and she could have listened to the officers who were telling her to put it in park and get out of the car. They were right there at her window telling her, put your car in park, get out of the car. And she chose to try to drive off on a slippery road, hit an ICE agent, and he shot and killed her. Not through the side, as some have claimed, but directly through the windshield. She was making eye contact with him as she was lurching forward. What's wild to me is the people who don't want to see it, who can't acknowledge that she provoked the situation, who they have to blame the ICE agent. If you're a longtime listener of this program, I make you mad sometimes because I simply don't toe the party line. I get Trump supporters mad at me a lot. I get the president himself mad at me. Said something the other day that he didn't like. If I don't think the ICE officer was in the right, I'm perfectly willing to tell you I think the ICE officer was wrong. But he had a split second to make a decision in a high-tense situation made more tense by this protester. He chose to defend himself as it appeared she was running her car into him, and he, in fact, did get hit. Despite the denials of many, many people in the press and on the left that happened, he actually was hit. We now have his video. Clearly, you can hear the thud as he is dropping his cell phone, that she has impacted him as she tries to drive off. So spare me your lectures on my faith. Spare me your lectures on truth. Spare me your revisions. This actually happened. Now, I want to go on to Jerry's phone call here before I go to break. Jerry, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, sir?
Good. What's going on?
I was just calling in because I have been in this situation. I'm a retired police detective that was leading the drug gang unit. So I've kicked doors for a living. I've been in these situations. And I just wanted to call in and say that not only is this a good shoot, but this officer doesn't deserve what he's receiving. Because I've been there. People, once you go into jail, there's not a single officer anywhere on the streets that wants to take a life. That's not what we sign up to do. We sign up to serve and protect. And for anybody to say otherwise, they just don't know. They've never walked in those shoes. And they need to realize that even though we're out there putting our lives on the line to save their lives and to make them live in a comfortable place where they go to sleep every night, knowing that they're safe, hopefully, that we never, ever want to harm someone or take someone's life. And so for anyone to say otherwise, they should, really look in the mirror. And for them to say that we're not Christian, Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior.
Amen.
Always has been and always will be. And
Jerry, I appreciate
it. He puts people like us in those positions so that we can pull the trigger to save other people and to save that officer in this latest case. Trust me, he didn't know if there was another officer over beside him that could have got ran over. He didn't know if the officer that had his arm in the window, whether that was smart to do or not, we can debate. But he doesn't know whether he's going to get drugged or not, just like he got drugged. He doesn't know if there's a civilian behind him that might get hit by that car. He doesn't know if there's civilians down the street and the other cars that got hit. He's just trying to save people, and he's trying to do what he thinks is best in that situation, not only himself.
That is so well said. Jerry, listen, I thank you, one, for listening, and two, for calling in. God bless you for what you do, putting your life on the line, and having been involved in a situation like this, unlike the rest of us folks. Perhaps we should take the officer at his word and not be so quick to judge the actions of an ICE agent in a high, tense situation where he's just trying to do his job and does not want to take lives. Y'all, I'm not a New Year's resolution guy. I never have been, but I have resolved, I guess you could say, before the New Year's to just drink more water. It's good for you. And I buy bottled water for the office, but I finally broke down and I bought a Cove Pure. So if you don't know what it is, it's an incredible machine. It's got technology that's certified to remove 99.9% of contaminants for the water. It gets rid of PFAs, microplastics, pharmaceutical residue, fluoride. It gets everything removed. It's the purest water you can get, and you just pour tap water in the back and let the filters do the work, and it just works. When I used it for the first time, I didn't realize you could heat up the water. You can chill the water. You can just have regular tap water at room temperature, and it just works with the push of a button. It sits right on the countertop. Didn't have to call a plumber. It makes it really easy. Cove Pure is so easy to get pure water with the push of a button. Do your New Year's resolution. Improve your health with real clean water. Right now, you can get $200 off for a limited time at covepure.com/Eric. That's COVEPURE, covepure.com/Eric, ERICK. Hello there and welcome. It is Eric Erickson. Protesters in Iran have breached the gates of the Ayatollah's compound in the Fars province. Now, this is a vacation area for him, so he's not there, but the fact that they have been emboldened enough to crash the gates in that area is a big deal. We keep our eye on the situation. If you're just tuning in, we now have the video from the law enforcement officer who was hit by Renee Good, and he was hit by Renee Good before he opened fire. And she's looking right at him as she begins to accelerate the vehicle with her partner. Some say it is apparently lesbian partners. She had been married to a guy and apparently then identified as lesbian. But in any event, the partner who was with her harassing the ICE agents is yelling at her, "Drive, drive, drive," as the officers are telling her to put her car in park and get out of the car. She does not listen to the officers. She listens to her partner. They are both there harassing the ICE agents. And it's very clear she was not an innocent bystander. It's very clear she intended to be there. It's very clear she was one of the people who were obstructing the ICE agents. It is very clear she was not innocent in the operation. And it is very clear that the officer was hit. The left has seized upon Donald Trump's statement that he was run over, saying, no, he wasn't run over. The mayor of Minneapolis says he clearly had a hip injury he could have gotten from swinging a refrigerator door closed with his hip, trying to deny it. It's very clear that the agent was hit by this woman with her vehicle. He is injured, by the way. A lot of people said he wasn't injured. He was. And she's dead. And she's dead because she decided to get in the way of a law enforcement operation and then hit an agent as she was trying to flee the scene as the agents told her to stop. That's the truth. It's not what the New York Times says. It's not what CNN says. If you are a media reporter and you can't understand why people won't believe you about stuff, this is exactly why. You took the talking points of the left, you weaved a narrative, you left out key information, and now we have up close and personal, high-quality footage that directly contradicts everything you've been telling people. The Washington Post even reports she put her car in reverse and tried to pull away. Insane. Banks are starting to have problems. Regional banks right now, as there are mixed economic signals. It looks like we're growing, but growing in healthcare and other parts of the private sector aren't. Swiss America has been warning people about the secret war on cash and these problems in the economy. They're sounding the alarm on it right now, and they want to send you their report, The Secret War on Cash, for free so you can get ahead of the situation, get knowledgeable about the fluctuations that are happening in gold and silver, understand that this applies to cryptocurrency and the government trying to force you to use credit and debit so they can track you. All you do to get this report is you call or text 800-289-2646. All you do is mention my name, Eric, when you call or text 800-289-2646. The Secret War on Cash report is completely free to my listeners. All you do is mention Eric, ERICK, when you call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. You can also go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric, SwissAmerica.com/ERICK, or 800-289-2646. Let Swiss America give you their report. It is completely free. Takes about 15 minutes to read. It'll help you with your retirement and finances. 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply. You know, one of the more interesting things about how the media has covered this shooting is one of the claims that was made out there about this Minnesota shooting of Renee Good was that the officers were giving her conflicting claims. One telling her to get out of the car, the other one telling her to drive off. No, the person saying drive, drive, drive was her lesbian partner who was out there harassing the ICE agents. All of the ICE agents were telling her to park her car and get out. I mean, so here's the thing. I want to step back to the Nick Shirley situation. In the Nick Shirley situation, the media insisted that you couldn't trust Nick Shirley because Nick Shirley was a YouTuber. And that because he was a YouTuber, he didn't have layers of editors. If you step back even further, go all the way back to 2004, 2005. In 2004, I was a miserable lawyer. I loved corporate transactions. That was about it. But I was in my law firm, and it was Jonah Goldberg, the International Review, who was the first person to tell me I should get a blog. And so I started, he didn't know me. I just emailed him several times when he was writing at National Review. I started a blog, and it really is Jonah Goldberg, who is the guy who got me blogging. He said, yeah, go find this site called Blogspot, get yourself a blog. So I did. And the bloggers rose. And if you will recall in 2004, Dan Rather and CBS Evening News ran an expose on George W. Bush and the National Guard. And people forget the nuance of the story, but it was the Powerline blog guys from Minnesota who exposed that the document Dan Rather relied on was a fraud. It wasn't real. It was made up. And the way they did it is they group sourced it with their readers, among others. And what they discovered was that the font used in the document did not exist at the date of the document. The font did not align with any typewriter in existence at the time. The font instead perfectly aligned with a font in Microsoft Word that was not invented until the 90s. So there was no possible way for the document to be real because the font used in the document could be determined to be a type that did not exist when the document was dated. It was bloggers who uncovered this, and Dan Rather lost his job. And we should not forget why Dan Rather lost his job. He purported to discredit the President of the United States based on a document that was not real. And to this day, Dan Rather refuses to admit the document was a fraud. He lost his job. A CBS investigation acknowledged, in fact, that the bloggers had it right. But the media ever since has insisted you can't trust bloggers because bloggers have no editors. It's just them at their keyboard. We go through a series of edits and editors. Yeah, okay. You might. But you keep getting stuff wrong. So fast forward from the rise of the bloggers to the rise of the YouTubers and Nick Shirley and his expose on the Somalis. The media insisted that you can't trust Nick Shirley and his expose of the Somali fraud in Minnesota because he doesn't have editors. He made claims and statements, but you can't verify that they were right due to the editorial process that was lacking. He, for example, showed up. I said they should have made this claim, and apparently one news outlet did point out that he was showing up during the Christmas holiday season when some of these places were closed. But many of these places said they had children present, and Nick Shirley then came out and said, no, we were there the whole day. No kids went in, no kids went out. Unless the kids are staying overnight, no kids were going in or out of the buildings. And the media wanted to ignore all that and said, you can't believe him because he's a YouTuber. We have layers of editors. That was just a week, 2 weeks ago. Fast forward to today. The New York Times, among others, do multiple camera angle digital diagnosis to say that the ICE agent was not actually struck by Renee Good. Now, I've been a fan in the past of some of the dispatch. I'm kind of appalled by their piece on this. Let me just read you this quote. This was not an unforeseeable tragedy or freak accident. It was the inevitable outcome of an immigration enforcement apparatus that has been poorly trained, sheltered from consequences, and empowered to behave recklessly. The agent who killed Good has been reported as a veteran officer, which makes the entire incident even more baffling and unnecessary. Now, I'm sorry, but the agent's video totally discredits the analysis from the dispatch. It discredits the analysis from the New York Times. It discredits the analysis from anyone who says he wasn't hit. And you know, the wild thing is you can actually you can watch the video from one of the angles and clearly see he was struck by the vehicle. And now they're denying that it happened. And the New York Times produces an analysis and puts text over the screen, by the way, on this video analysis, where the impact happened, say, nope, there's no impact to see. And he very clearly was struck. And now you even have the mayor of Minneapolis making a claim that maybe the guy got his hip injury from closing a refrigerator door with his hip. He actually wants to make that claim, or at least compares the two. Now this is a guy who's prone to cuss, so I'm going to play you the audio, but finger on the delay on the cut button here. But let's do this.
I'm going to do like a couple more, and then I'm sure there's some other people behind me too. Yeah.
Donald Trump has said that it's clear that Renee was not just trying to let this officer, but she actually ran him over. J.D. Vance has promised this officer absolutely millions and millions of days. Is there any?
Yeah, that seems, the way you put it, it's pretty grim. What you just said, and I think, to repeat for everybody, Donald Trump said that Renee ran the ICE agent over. Don't take my word for it. Don't take their word for it. Watch the video from every single angle. I mean, the ICE agent walked away with a hip injury that he might as well have gotten from closing a refrigerator door with his hips.
You got that? So because Donald Trump said the guy, we were all saying he got hit by the car. The New York Times says there's no impact. And now Fry said, well, they said he was run over. No, maybe the president did. The rest of us didn't, but we said he was struck by the vehicle. The New York Times says he wasn't struck by the vehicle. We now have the video from the ICE agent whose phone drops when he's hit by the car, and you can hear the thud. By the way, for every single person listening, don't take my word for it. If you text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, text my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. I just sent the video out to every subscriber, paid, unpaid, doesn't matter, everyone who subscribed. If you text Eric to 33777, you're going to get back a series of links. Click the very first link. Go to my daily email, the show notes email, and you will see it for yourself. The title is Breaking New Video from Minnesota. You click it and you can see she was looking right at him. She accelerated into him. She hit him. And he opens fire. And the media for the last 48 hours has insisted there was no impact. So now the spin is, well, he wasn't run over or the impact was minimal. They continue to move the goalposts on this because they don't want to acknowledge they were wrong. They don't want to acknowledge that this guy was hit. And, you know, many of them also said that Renee Good was an innocent bystander who just happened to be at the scene. And from the video, she clearly was harassing the ICE agents. Homeland Security said she had been stalking them all day, and people, no, she was innocent. She wasn't even a protester. We now know she was a protester. Not only was a protester, she was using her car to block the ICE agents. And then they say, well, they were giving her multiple commands. Some were telling her to get out. Some were telling her to drive away. No ICE agent was telling her to drive away. All of them were saying, put it in park and get out. And she accelerated because her partner there protesting was telling her, drive, drive, drive. And she turns the wheel and floors the gas on ICE and accelerates directly into the ICE agent, who is injured. Every single thing members of the press have spun about this is a lie. And I got people coming at me because they want to believe the lie. They want to impute bad motives to the ICE agents who were just doing their job. They want to lie about the ICE agents. You're not entitled to your own truth. You're entitled to the truth. You can think the ICE agents shouldn't be doing what they're doing, but what they're doing is lawful. You can think they should go about it a different way, and that's fine, but they didn't go about it a different way. They went about it the way they were trained to go about it. And it was not the ICE agents who made the situation tense. It was Renee Good, and she lost her life, and it's a tragedy. She doesn't need to be mocked. It is a tragedy. But it's a tragedy she brought on herself. And that's unfortunate. But let's not lie about what happened. We now have the agent's own footage. If you text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, you can right now go see it for yourself. I have pushed out the video. I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to be able to see it for yourself. I want you to be able to make up your mind for yourself. Think for yourself here. I think it's very important that everybody be able to look at the video themselves without me having to be accused of obfuscating. There's no obfuscation. There's just reality. And the reality is he did get hit by her. You can hear the thud in the video. Text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Now, let me go to David in Jacksonville, Florida. Welcome to the show, David. How are you?
Hey, how you doing? I'm not really going to say any more about the unfortunate death of that demonstrator. But I'll tell you what I am going to say, and I've seen it since 2020. Every time these guys demonstrate, it becomes apparent that there's got to be a lot of paid demonstrators out there. But what's more, what another telltale thing is do you notice all those signs? Those signs are been professionally made in a sign shop.
Yeah, they are.
Every one of them, I'd say half to 3/4 of them that I've seen are professionally made. Okay, and I assume the people that are paying for those are getting about the lowest cost, which is about $4 to $5 a sign, plus $1 for the stick. So, and then you have to pay to get them moved and transported and all that kind of stuff, because I don't know if they're getting them made locally or whatever. Another thing I've seen, not today, but in other demonstrations, there have been camera people that have shown pallets of bricks that people were drawing from to throw at law enforcement. And another case, I think it was out in California, somebody was passing out gas masks, new out of the box. Bottom line is somebody is funding and paying for a lot of these demonstrators. Yeah. And it all can't be in cash. Hang on a second. It all can't be in cash. And with this new assistant district attorney or attorney general or whatever they call him, they will they'll find out, who's paying for this. And I don't know if it's Soros or not. It could be overseas. But I'll be quiet and let you talk. I'm sorry.
So, no. Well, I appreciate you letting me talk. But, so this goes back to Charlie will remember this. We were at the Republican convention in Tampa in 2012 when there were all these Antifa protesters then. And someone actually there were trucks that were showing up and dropping off bricks and pipes at intersections for the protesters to be able to throw. Someone had to do it. J.D. Vance made this point yesterday. Who is buying the bricks? Someone's buying the bricks. Someone's buying the gear for these people, and we're now going to have this new U.S. assistant attorney. By the way, Roger Seravino is my recommendation for it. I hope they take me seriously on that. He would be great. But someone is appropriating the money and the coordination for these people. They have burner cell phones. They show up. They've gotten bricks and supplies from somewhere. They're not all spontaneously going out to the hardware store to buy bricks. They're getting them from somewhere, and we do need an investigation on that. It's a real thing, and the media always waves it away and dismisses it, but it is a very real and active thing, and we need to have it exposed. Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here, 877-973-7425. It's an open line Friday. If you text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, I will send you back a series of links. It's the live stream. It's the podcast. It's the 4 Things to Know in the Afternoon podcast, the social media links. You can follow me on Instagram. But the big one is the very first link in that. It's my daily show note. And about 15 minutes ago, I pushed out the video. It is the video from the ICE agent who shot Renee Good. He was hit by Renee Good. You can hear the thud. You can see her looking right at him. You also, though, will see, just so I'm not obfuscating any fact from you, she is turning her wheel, turning, trying to turn the wheels away from him. She looks right at him. He is yelling at her to stop, and she hits the gas. Now, you must keep in mind it's winter, and the roads are icy. And when she accelerates, she's got a front-wheel drive vehicle, and she accelerates, and the vehicle does not turn as she turned the wheel. It does go straight and hits him. He drops his cell phone. You can hear the thud as the car hits him, and he opens fire on her. She put herself in the situation, and I don't want you to take my word for it. I'm describing it accurately, but I want you to be able to see it yourself. And you can see and hear her and her partner harassing the ICE agents. You can see all of the agents telling her to get out of the car, and it's her partner activist telling her, drive. No ICE agent, contrary to what the New York Times said, no ICE agent is telling her to get out of the car or to drive away. They're all telling her to get out of the car. It's the other activists saying drive. So you text the word Eric to 33777. You click that first link. And when you do, you're going to my show note. Click through. You may get a subscribe box. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to be paid to see it. I want everybody to be able to see it for themselves. I never want to tell you what to think. I want you to be able to think for yourself. I want you to see the video for yourself. When we come back, I'll take your phone calls, but we got to talk about Venezuela because there's new developments in Venezuela that are very important to get to. But text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Now, if you want to do the paid subscription, you'll get the show notes, but you don't have to. I just want you to see that video. I also need to tell you about Renee. So my sweet, glorious college student child just brought me coffee, which I need. And in our house, when she takes a shower, we used to run out of hot water. She's got a lot of hair. We don't anymore because we have a Renee tankless water heater, and you can too. They are very reasonably priced. They are made in the USA, and you can ditch your tank of a water heater and get a tankless Renee water heater and have hot water for unlimited hot water forever. It lasts. We never fight over the hot water in the house anymore. You don't have to fight over the hot water. They can be a thing of the past thanks to Renee. All you do is go to talkingtankless.com. That's the website they set up for me, talkingtankless.com. You go to talkingtankless.com, and you will find all the facts on how you can swap out your tank of a water heater. And I will tell you, our example only, but our power bill went down because we had an electric water heater. And our power bill went down with the tankless water heater because it's so much more efficient. Talkingtankless.com, and you can thank Renee for having hot water forever.